It's a busy day at the mall. People are walking around, chatting, shopping. Some are laughing with friends, others are rushing to find the perfect gift. The noise fills the air, but it's not enough to drown out the excitement of the crowd. In the middle of all this, there's one man who stands out, but not for the reasons you might think. His name is Samuel L. Jackson. Yes, that's Samuel L. Jackson. The actor we all know from countless movies. He's casually dressed today, wearing a simple hoodie and jeans. He looks just like any other person in the crowd, except he's a lot more famous. But on this day, Samuel is just another face in the crowd. At least, that's what he thinks. As he walks through the mall, most people don't recognize him. Maybe it's the hoodie. Maybe it's because he's blending in so well with the crowd. But even when people do notice him, they don't always know who he is. They might think they've seen him before, but they're never quite sure. This happens to Samuel a lot, but he's learned to let it go. Still, there's something about today that feels different. Maybe it's the way people are looking at him. There's a sense that something unexpected is about to happen. And Samuel, he has no idea what's coming. As Samuel walks through the mall, he's not paying much attention to the people around him. He's used to the noise, the chaos, the crowds. His mind is elsewhere, maybe thinking about what to eat, or how to get out of this busy place as quickly as possible. That's when it happens. A man probably in his mid-30s, approaches him with a concerned look on his face. Samuel notices him out of the corner of his eye, but doesn't think much of it. The man looks a bit lost, but Samuel's not the type to get involved in other people's problems. The man steps closer, and to Samuel's surprise, asks, "Excuse me, sir, could you help me out? I'm trying to find the customer service desk. I'm a bit turned around." Samuel looks at him for a moment, unsure what to make of the request. It's not that unusual to be asked for directions in a crowded place, but something about the man's tone seems different. The guy isn't asking just anyone for help. He's looking at Samuel like he's supposed to be in charge. "Customer service," Samuel says, raising an eyebrow. "It's right over there." He gestures vaguely to his left, not thinking much about it. But the man isn't satisfied with just that. He steps a little closer, as if he's just figured something out. "Thanks," he says, but there's a strange pause. "But I was also wondering, is there any way you could help me out with getting through security? I'm in a bit of a rush," and Samuel blinks, confused. "Security," he repeats. "I'm not," but the man cuts him off before Samuel can finish his sentence. "I really appreciate it. I don't know where the line starts, but I saw you walking over here, and figured you were probably heading in that direction." Samuel, still unsure of what's happening, looks at the man. He's staring back at him, waiting expectantly. And that's when it hits Samuel. The man thinks he's a security guard. He's not asking for directions anymore. He's asking for help with getting through security. Now Samuel is really confused. "Hold on," he says, trying to make sense of it. "I'm not a security guard. I'm just," but the man, clearly not listening, nods eagerly. "Great, thanks man. I'll just follow you." Samuel glances down at himself. He's wearing a hoodie and jeans, nothing even close to a uniform. He doesn't look like a security guard in any way, but the man's already walking behind him, as if the whole conversation never happened. Samuel can't help but laugh to himself. This is new. He's been mistaken for many things before, but a security guard, that's a first. And now, the situation is getting even stranger. Samuel stands there for a moment, completely puzzled. The man is right behind him, walking with a kind of certainty that Samuel hasn't earned. He's still in his hoodie, not even close to wearing anything that might resemble a security uniform, but the man is acting like they're on a mission. Samuel starts to chuckle to himself. What is going on here? This is the kind of thing that doesn't even happen in the movies. He's been recognized by fans, and mistaken for other people a few times, but this is next level. He's being mistaken for a security guard, in the middle of a mall. He decides to just go with it, for now. Maybe it'll be funny. Samuel isn't one to make a scene, and honestly he's curious where this will go. "All right," Samuel says, pretending like this is just another regular thing that happens to him. "If you're following me, just keep up." His voice has a light tone, almost as if he's been doing this for years. The man nods, clearly relieved that Samuel is taking charge of the situation. They walk down a corridor of stores. Samuel can hear the soft hum of the mall music, the chatter of other people around them, but he's completely focused on the oddity of what's happening. The man is still behind him, quietly trusting him to lead the way. It's almost like the world around them fades away, and they're on some sort of mission, heading straight to, where exactly? Samuel tries to think fast. You know, he says casually, the line for security is pretty long today. Might take a while to get through. He throws in the warning, just in case the man decides to turn back and realize he's made a mistake. But the man doesn't seem to care. He just nods and smiles, like he's been waiting for this moment. Samuel glances over his shoulder, still amused by how seriously the man is taking him. You sure you want to do this? I'm not exactly the best guide for this job, he says, adding a playful note to his voice. I might get us lost. The man doesn't even hesitate. You seem to know what you're doing, man. Thanks for helping out. Samuel's grin widens. The whole thing is too ridiculous, but he decides to keep going with it. He points ahead. Right up here, there's a checkpoint. They usually check your bags, or whatever. But, don't be surprised if you get held up for a minute. It's the middle of the day, so it's busy. The man, nodding again, stays close behind. He's so focused on following Samuel, that he doesn't even look at the signs around them. Samuel can't help but wonder if he'll go through with this entire thing without realizing the truth. This is too good to be true. Samuel tries to hold back a laugh, but it's impossible. He clears his throat, trying to stay serious. All right, let's just keep moving. I'll get you through it. As Samuel walks through the mall with this guy in tow, the situation starts to draw some attention. People pass by, giving quick glances. Some of them stop mid-step, staring for a moment, before moving on. But there's something different about the way they're looking at Samuel. It's not just a casual glance, it's almost as if they're trying to figure out if they know him. The man walking behind Samuel, still under the assumption that Samuel is a security guard, doesn't seem to notice the looks. He's just following Samuel with complete trust, as though they're part of some secret mission. Samuel can't help but notice the few people who are slowing down, their eyes tracking the two of them. Couple of people even nod like they know Samuel, some fans perhaps. Samuel rolls his eyes, trying to stay focused. He knows what's happening. It's not the first time he's been recognized, but this time it's a different kind of recognition. Some people are whispering to each other, pointing in their direction. He hears a woman's voice behind him say, Isn't that Samuel L. Jackson?" Another voice follows. No, it can't be. He's a security guard. It's like the world is divided in two. On one side, people are convinced they've just spotted Samuel L. Jackson. On the other, people are still looking at him like he's the mall's security personnel, doing his rounds. It's a strange mix, and it's clear that Samuel is stuck in the middle. Is that really him? Someone else whispers. Samuel can feel the eyes on him now. It's not just one or two curious bystanders anymore. There's a small group of people following behind, keeping their distance but clearly watching the interaction unfold. They're not sure if they should approach him or stay back. They don't want to make a scene, but they're also curious. At one point, a teenage girl looks over at the man following Samuel and whispers to her friend, "Is he a bodyguard or something?" Her friend just shrugs, still unsure. Samuel's starting to get a little uncomfortable. People are getting closer now, some of them even snapping photos. But the man behind him, he's completely oblivious to it all. He's still following Samuel, like he's a trusted guide, just waiting to get to the security checkpoint. Finally, Samuel can't take it anymore. He glances at the man, raising his eyebrows. "You sure about this?" he asks, half smiling. The man looks back at him, still serious. "Yeah, I trust you. You're the one who knows what you're doing." And with that, Samuel just shakes his head, trying not to laugh. He might be used to attention, but this is something else. He's never been surrounded by so many curious eyes, while pretending to be a security guard. The whole thing is getting ridiculous. And it's only going to get stranger from here. Just as the situation starts to reach its peak of absurdity, things take an unexpected turn. A few steps ahead, a real security guard, dressed in the standard uniform, walks into the scene. He's tall, wearing a black jacket with security written across his chest. His eyes scan the crowd before landing on Samuel. The security guard does a double take, his eyebrows raising in recognition. For a split second, it looks like he might not even believe what he's seeing. Samuel freezes for a second, his heart skipping a beat. This is it. The moment where the whole situation is going to unravel. He wonders if the security guard is going to say something. Samuel's mind races, but before he can say anything, the security guard walks straight toward them. "Hey," the security guard says, his voice a bit hesitant but friendly. Excuse me, Mr. Jackson." The words come out almost cautiously, as if he's not sure if he's right. Samuel's eyes widen for a second, and then he can't help but grin. "Yeah, that's me," he says, nodding. The man behind Samuel, the one who's been following him all this time, turns his head, clearly surprised to hear the name. "Wait, you're Samuel L. Jackson, the actor?" he asks, his voice full of disbelief. Samuel chuckles, shaking his head. "Yeah, I'm the guy. But I'm not a security guard, man. I'm just here, blending in, I guess." The security guard looks back and forth between Samuel and the man, still processing the situation. "Oh man, I thought you were just part of the team here," the guard says. Now realizing what's been going on, he turns to the man who had been following Samuel, shaking his head with a knowing smile. "Looks like you've been getting some, unusual directions." The man stands there, completely taken aback. "I thought you were a security guard." "I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean to." Samuel laughs, raising his hands in mock defense. "No harm done, man. It's been an adventure." The security guard can't help but smile too. "I've seen some things around here, but this is definitely a first." The man finally seems to realize the extent of his mistake, and he starts to apologize profusely. "I'm so sorry, I really thought you were." "Don't worry about it." Samuel interrupts, his voice light. "I've been mistaken for all kinds of things. A bodyguard, a chef, even a cashier once. It happens. No big deal." As the crowd around them starts to thin out, Samuel gives the security guard a friendly nod. "Thanks for clearing it up though." The guard nods back, still chuckling. "No problem. Just glad I could help." As the two of them walk off in different directions, Samuel can't help but shake his head again. This whole situation was one for the books. He might be used to attention, but this kind of confusion, it was priceless. Samuel watches the man who mistakenly thought he was a security guard walk away, still looking a little embarrassed but relieved. He can't help but laugh to himself. The whole situation was beyond ridiculous, but it's one of those things he'll probably look back on and chuckle at for a long time. As Samuel walks away, he overhears a few people still whispering about what just happened. "Did you see that? Samuel L. Jackson, pretending to be a security guard," one person says, while another adds, "I swear, that guy's the coolest. He didn't even make a big deal out of it." Samuel smiles to himself. He's used to people talking about him, but today, it was something different. It wasn't just the usual fan excitement, it was about the story, the unexpected moment that made him laugh, and probably made everyone else laugh too. He reaches the exit of the mall, and as he steps outside into the fresh air, he takes a deep breath. It's a small thing really, but moments like these remind him why he loves being out in the world. You never know what might happen, and sometimes, the best stories come from the most unexpected places. Samuel chuckles again. "I'm definitely telling this one," he mutters to himself, shaking his head. He's had plenty of crazy experiences in his career, but this one was priceless.